What is up, MMA community? I just want to let you guys know that this podcast may have some graphic language that may not be suitable for all audiences. The listener discretion is advised. Welcome to episode 25 of the BP Mean Gene MMA show. What's up, Mean Gene?
What's up? Silver anniversary, 25, baby.
Yeah,
Let's go.
already at 25 episodes.
Long time no see, too. It's been, like fucking 3-4 weeks since
we you know what it was is we needed time for me to grow a longer beard than Mean Gene. And he had to shave as part of the process, but just a little special episode 25. So that picture's outdated for Mean Gene. That picture's outdated for me right behind. So there you go, episode 25. But Mean Gene still has a gold chain. So don't be mistaken.
Yep.
We need to add that to the logo. I think that definitely needs to be added to the logo.
I agree, 100%.
I need to put my eyebrow up a little bit more on the logo. Drives me crazy when I look at it. With that being said, we got some news from overnight that you just told me about going in the show. But Ferguson versus Oliveira is pretty much set. Is being finalized right now for the December card, UFC 256. What do you think that does for light? What about Chandler?
Yeah, I love it for a couple reasons, and maybe Chandler's getting a taste of the Dana White and the UFC treatment in the sense that you're not going to dictate shit, dude. I don't know if the Ferguson and Chandler potential fight was actually real. You know, I know Ferguson wanted it. Chandler shot it down. He wanted to be on the undercard or the co-main event of the McGregor versus Poirier fight in January. And I kind of got a little feeling that the UFC said, you know what, Chandler, you don't run shit here. You're going to learn what it is to be in the UFC. You're going to learn to be a fighter in the UFC. You know, we call the shots here. And because I started to get a little bit bothered by him coming in. Listen, I love the signing of Chandler. I think it's a good signing for the division. And but at the same time, the way he kind of came in and was kind of dictating, telling all these other fighters like this is how it's going to go type of shit. I'm glad that the UFC, what I perceive to be the UFC, putting him back in his place. So for him, either he just waits or he just, Gaethje's out there. I don't feel like he deserves Gaethje, to be honest with you, but whatever. You can make that fight easily. You can make the Gaethje fight. I'd be cool with that. I'd be happy with it. But I feel like it's just Gaethje or Dan Hooker. Those are really the only two fights for him. And I actually, to be honest with you, I think Dan Hooker is too low. Chandler coming in a big signing like that, he was the top, one or two at 155. Obviously, he lost to Pitbull, but he deserves a Gaethje, a Ferguson, a Poirier, a Conor McGregor, and Oliveira. Whereas Dan Hooker, I feel like, is a little bit more on the outside. Dan Hooker's more in that like Kevin Lee, Diego Ferreira, kind of bracket. So, I'd like to see Chandler versus Gaethje. I'd like to see Chandler versus Gaethje, to be honest with you.
I would like to see. I hope they don't do that fight. I think this is even better because if Ferguson beats Oliveira, then he can go and fight Gaethje again for a rematch, or we'll figure that out depending on who wins. I think the next fight is going to be if Poirier or whoever wins between Poirier and McGregor, they're fighting Gaethje for that vacated title. We'll talk about in a sec, but Khabib's not coming back.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. We got.
No, you don't have to come on camera. Keep going though. My youngest daughters wanted me to peel an orange for her.
No worries.
So, little 4-year-old. I mean, No, I agree. Keep your options open because right now with Gaethje, if Khabib, and we'll get to that in 2 seconds or whatever. If Khabib is indeed going to stay retired, then you have Gaethje is the rightful number one contender. Go ahead. We'll throw this in the here.
Yeah, it'll be Poirier. The winner of Poirier McGregor, they'll fight Gaethje for that vacated title, and then I love who the winner of Ferguson and Oliveira. They can fight Chandler, and even then, you can, like you mentioned, Chandler versus Hooker. I disagree. I know where you're coming from. He was a top guy in Bellator, but he wasn't a champ. And if you're not a champ in Bellator coming over to the UFC, I don't think you necessarily deserve that title shot. Like, the UFC is levels.
Agreed.
So, a lot of the champions would only be top 5 guys in the UFC division, especially lightweight. I think Pitbull would be really fucking good. I don't know if he would be champion. He sure as hell wouldn't be champion with Khabib here, but even with Gaethje and all the other ones, I don't know if he would be champion. So my point being is that I think if Chandler coming over, I think a fight with Hooker is perfect, and then the winner of Hooker and the winner of Hooker Chandler and Ferguson and Oliveira will fight the winner of Gaethje and all of that. It's a whole mess. Gaethje versus the winner of Conor and Poirier will be the new champion.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I completely agree with you on that. I think Chandler doesn't deserve a title shot coming straight in. He wasn't a title holder at Bellator when he left. As for the Pitbull comment, yeah, Pitbull at 155, who knows? At 145, yeah, he's champ in the UFC, 100%. He's being Volkanovski, especially after that last performance against Max Holloway.
And that's Max Holloway.
Yeah, but we can get into that. We'll be able to debate that
fight. That's another fight coming up.
Yep.
Gator, fucking love that fight.
Oh yeah, we will talk about that. Yes. That wasn't on the list. We'll definitely get into that though. No, I agree with you. With the Chandler doesn't deserve the shot. He wasn't the title holder either. And then I'm cool with the Gaethje. Like, if he fights Gaethje, I'm fine with it. I don't think he really deserves it. Like I said, he's more of like a Dan Hooker. I don't know. Maybe I'm going back on what I said before. Whatever, 10 minutes ago. Yeah, if he fights, I'd actually be okay if he fights Dan Hooker, actually. I know I actually said I wouldn't be okay with that. I'm actually fine with him if he fights Dan Hooker. That might actually be a good fight for him to jump into the UFC. But all I'll just say about that is I feel like Dan Hooker is definitely a tier down from the elite in the 155 division, especially after losing to Poirier the way he lost and narrowly getting by Felder. And as for Chandler, I feel like Chandler is in that tier 1 of that division. I'm not saying that he's going to beat any of these guys, but he is a former long-reigning champion in Bellator. And I do think, like, man, he's a new signing coming in. Throw him into the wolves. You don't, and he's older. You don't need to do a slow burn and have him fight. Yeah, so that's the only reason why I had originally said I don't want him to go against Dan Hooker. But in the sense of, like, lining up for the UFC, I do agree with you after what you said. He shouldn't fight Gaethje. It should be Gaethje, heal up, quote unquote. I know he was only in there for 2 rounds, but just heal up, and then you're gonna fight the winner of Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier.
Yes,
and that's gonna be a championship fight.
Sure.
Yeah, and then after that, you can figure everything else out with the rest of them. Now if Ferguson like destroys Oliveira, and because he's actually gonna be fighting before Conor fights, he's gonna be fighting before all these guys. Actually, he's gonna fight Charles Oliveira. So if he has a spectacular performance, man, I could see Khabib coming out for that 30-0 and fighting Ferguson to get that 30-0. I'm not saying he will. I'm just all I'm saying to you is, in this, maybe we jump right into Khabib.
That's what I was just about to say. Yeah,
I'm gonna my pick. My pick, and what I'll say is it's Ferguson. Literally no one else he can fight. He's not going to fight anyone else.
No one else he's coming out for. No one else.
Yeah.
100%. Unless, we'll get down that. Before we get into Khabib at all, I just want to close it off by saying, just to put into perspective a little bit, Michael Chandler's last fight was beating Benson Henderson.
Yeah.
So, that Benson Henderson loved the dude. He was that old era of UFC dominance, where he came in, became lightweight champion. Then obviously Anthony Pettis beat him. It was his kryptonite. But it's just putting that into perspective. Like Anthony Pettis, way fallen off. Ben Henderson, that's his last competition. So to jump up and now fight the new era, the true most impressive division, arguably of all time in the UFC, that's a tough task. I would rather see him fight Dan Hooker. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
But now going right into Khabib's retirement, yeah, I agree. I don't know if you saw this. I think you did. I'm sure you did. Ariel Helwani retweeted it and kind of gave some more commentary on it. But yeah, I mean, Khabib is not. I just don't see him coming out of retirement. He was giving that thing about, and I understand where he's coming from. He said there's just nothing. It's the same story every time. There's a wrestler who's a great striker, and he's levels above them. The way he made Justin Gaethje look, I mean, it's hard to argue. Like, this dude, how the fuck do you beat him? Literally. You have to be an Olympic style wrestler with a little bit better striking. Yeah, I can't see anyone beating him anytime soon. So I understand he talks about the money. I thought it was a really, really interesting interview, where he's just not even really interview, just an answer to a question that he had, where he was saying, like, it's not worth it for him to come out because his goal was to reach the summit. His goal wasn't to make a ton of money or anything like that. So it was to be the best. And I think he arguably has, but we'll talk about it again. We keep getting ahead of ourselves, but whether he's the greatest or not. But regardless, I do think there's no way he comes out of retirement unless, like you said, that Tony Ferguson possibly. That's the one guy he never fought. But even then, I mean, with Tony Ferguson losing like he did to Justin Gaethje, it would take a very, very, very impressive Tony Ferguson for Khabib to come out for it. But
yeah, I agree with that. I mean, because the man, he's a man of principles, and when he says something, I believe him. I don't think he's gonna waver. I didn't see the interview. I have to see it. I'm hoping that he left the door cracked open.
Not at all.
Not at all. Damn.
He pretty much was just saying, I didn't know you hadn't seen this. Yeah, he was pretty much like,
I real quick, I'll just say I read like the headline. I saw the video, like the video was playing in my timeline, but I never clicked on it because it was like 3-4 minutes. At the time, I didn't have time to. As crazy as it sounds, it was only 3-4 minutes. I didn't have time to listen to it, so yeah. I got the gist of it by reading the headline. Sue me for that because I hate people like that just read the headline. But I knew, when it comes to Khabib, and when I saw what it said, what else do I need to see?
A reporter who's saying Ariel Helwani isn't gonna. I don't know. He doesn't take things crazy out of context. I know I might get shit thrown at me just for saying that, but yeah, he's not crazy. He's not like a lot of the other media.
Yeah, but anyways, I missed that. So there's no door, is what you're saying?
No, not really. I mean, again, he just talks about. I guess the only door is that if something were to be competitively, it made sense for him competitively to come out for retirement. Then he would. But just in the sense of the reason he's not coming out of retirement is he's proven everything he needs
to. So he did leave the door open. All right, so that's what I wanted to know. So
not really, but yeah.
But kind of. I mean, he kind of did. Yeah, he's not saying, like he said, if there's something competitive, right?
He didn't say that at all. I'm just saying if you dig, you can say, well, because what he was saying is he's not coming out of retirement because it doesn't make sense for him competitively. Like, he's already proven everything he needs to prove. So then the only way to get him out of that would be, well, to convince him he hasn't proven that he can beat Tony Ferguson. But any new guy, he's not doing.
Okay. All right. Well, so what I'll say in regards to that, obviously, we all as fight fans want to see Ferguson versus Khabib. It's the one fight that got away, or has gotten away.
Yeah.
In my scenario, because I do think there is a chance that they do end up fighting. Some tells me he wants to be an even 30-0, and the main reason why is because of his father. He said it leading up to 29-0, saying that the goal was to be 30-0. His manager, his fucking tweeted about it. Ali Abdelaziz has said, 30-0, some cryptic tweets. Maybe not now, whatever it is. Maybe at the end of the year, maybe in a year and a half. I don't know when it is, but I do feel like deep down inside, there's something in him that wants to get to 30-0, only to fulfill his father's wishes. And at the end of the day, too, I feel like that is something that he can ultimately use as a crutch or lean on when people say, hey, man, you gave your word. You said you're going to be 29-0. Your mom said she didn't want you fighting anymore. Hey, my dad, to fulfill his wishes, he wanted me to be 30-0. So I do feel like he's still got that out, and I do feel like,
and I hope he uses it. Yeah, but
me too. And I think Ferguson is the perfect person, just given if Ferguson can go on back on a run again, if Ferguson can go back on a run again and get to, have a spectacular victory over Charles Oliveira, and then maybe maybe he fights again. Doesn't matter. I don't know what that path is. But at the end of the day, I do feel like that fight could still potentially happen because there's nothing else for Khabib. I mean, I don't believe GSP it's going to happen for numerous reasons, and the main one being that the UFC is 80. Come on, the main one being that GSP, they don't want him to get the title and then walk off like he did with the middleweight.
Yeah, but again, if I think it was DC who had brought this up, the UFC is willing to do that if either way Khabib is going to.
Hold that thought. Let me get this little one out. Hang on.
No worries. All right, we're back. So you were talking about GSP.
Yeah. Sorry about
that. Oh, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I know you want to finish on GSP. You can. The only thing with that is I think that if either way, I think DC was bringing this up. Either way, if Khabib is going to come back only to get that 30-0, it doesn't matter. Either way, whoever wins the fight is going to relinquish the title. So I don't think the UFC really would care at that point.
Good point. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Good point. I feel like, when it comes to the GSP, I was surprised they got it done with the middleweight title. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of incentive, obviously, because it was New York or whatever. But I just feel like the negotiations with GSP doesn't have to come back. He's only going to come back if he gets a shit ton of money. So it just seems like the UFC doesn't have the best. They have a good relationship with them, but just when it comes to negotiations, they're like, it's not even worth it. We're not going to go through all this shit and jump through all these hoops and shit. So I don't see that happening. So the only other person, what I'm saying is he already beat McGregor. He hates McGregor. He will never, I'm sorry to say, I don't care how much money they give him. He will never give McGregor the chance. Nope. Number one, to avenge that loss, and number two, to fuck up his 30-0. There's no way he's doing that. So you can go ahead and throw McGregor out. So the only other logical fighter for him to fight to get to 30-0 is Ferguson, because we as fans understand that Ferguson was on that crazy run. And we do understand that Gaethje beat the fuck out of Ferguson, but maybe I'm in the minority when it comes to this. Ferguson was planning for fucking Gaethje. I'm not saying like, or pardon me, he was planning for Khabib. Mm-hmm. So he's playing for, a fucking, arguably the greatest fighter of all time, and an incredible, and definitely the greatest MMA wrestler of all time. 100%. There's no question about that. And then he has to fight Gaethje and switch up his game. Obviously, can he stand it? Can he stand and bang? Yeah, he can stand and bang. The dude's a fucking warrior, but the game plan, and this is a sport, so the game plan and the studying and the time he put in the gym was geared towards a wrestler, and obviously at the end it switched to a stand-up fighter.
I agree with you to a point.
So all I'll say, I'm not diminishing Gaethje's win. All I'm saying is, like, hey man, if he gets out here and fucking destroys Charles Oliveira, who I personally have a lot of fanfare behind or a lot of backing, and I'll be honest with you, I'm probably, as a gambler, I can't wait for the lines. I can't wait for it's official. I want to see what the lines are, and if Oliveira is the underdog, I'm jumping on Oliveira, because the man can easily stand with Ferguson and he can fucking grapple with him. Obviously, he's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt, and I just think the guy is just getting better and better and better. So, but long story short, if he ends up beating Oliveira, in spectacular fashion or impressive fashion, then yeah, man, I could easily see Khabib coming back and getting that fight that, for the, was it, sixth time it would be booked. And that's it. There's no other person worthy of a 30-0.
Totally agree. Yeah, I don't think there's any way he comes out of retirement. Like I said, there's no new guy. Right now, his goal is to get Makhachev into winning that lightweight belt, but there's no new guy that, even if Khamzat Chimaev comes up and becomes the middleweight, welterweight, and then tries to go down to lightweight, he's not fighting him. So I just think there's no guy that really is going to pull him out besides Ferguson. That's the one fight that got away, like you mentioned. But even then he might be like, man, we've booked it 5 times. It's clearly not happening.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. I'm not sure. And I think, not to mention, on top of that, I think he has a really bitter taste in his mouth because of how shitty his last camp went. And he's just kind of done. I think he's, not only did that camp burn him out, but also it just doesn't make sense for him. And I know you mentioned McGregor. I did want to close off on that with 100% no chance in hell. McGregor Khabib will never happen. That rematch will never happen. You can mark our words on that. Knock on wood, in terms of, no, I feel like, well, I mean, if it did happen, that'd be cool. But the reason being, if you do watch that interview, it's very clear. Pretty much, he does not like the idea of giving anyone a rematch. He's pretty much like, listen, I beat them. Not only did I beat them, I dominated them. There's no rematch anyone deserves. There's no close. Nothing was close. It's not like when Jon Jones beats someone like Dom Reyes, where you're like, oh shit, we need to see a rematch. It's like Jon Jones beating Shogun Rua. No one wanted to see a rematch. They're like, okay, he's clearly a better fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so he pretty much essentially saw it as, well, I conquered that. There's nothing left for me to prove. So no chance in hell he fights McGregor, especially with how much he hates him. I mean, there's no chance.
Agreed.
So yeah, with that being said, with Oliveira versus Ferguson, I agree. I think Oliveira has a huge chance of beating him. Yeah, it's very interesting looking at that lightweight division right now, because there's so many moving parts. And
yeah, well, let me jump in on that. I think it's an incredible fight. The UFC, again, the matchmakers, what is there to say about the matchmakers, man, besides they're the best? I mean, there's nothing else to be said. They're incredible with these matchups, man. Sometimes, obviously, there's some matchups that we would love as fans that,
don't get made, but
yeah, don't get made or whatever, fall through the cracks. But ultimately, I think they're batting fucking 400 when it comes to these matchups. And man, it's perfect. I want this for Oliveira. Oliveira deserves this shit. It's almost like another guy I'll name here is Diego Ferreira. This guy's not getting enough fucking credit, and I hope the UFC, and I think they will, but I hope they give him, a true top fucking 7, because I think he's ranked 8, 9, something like that. He deserves a top 10, whatever, 8, 9, whatever the fuck it is, fighter. And same thing with Oliveira, man. I mean, his performance against Kevin Lee was spectacular, and he's only gotten better. He's a long, how I would say, he's a UFC vet. He's been in the UFC for a long ass time that people don't realize.
Yeah.
He's finally hitting his strides, man. And I'm glad that they're giving him Tony Ferguson. It's going to be violence. Both those guys are going to stand and fucking bang. And it's just great matchmaking. It's great for Ferguson to get back in and try to get into the win column. If he has a good win, obviously, like we said, he'll be right back in the mix for a title shot. And then for Oliveira, man, the perfect guy to fight. If you beat Ferguson, man, that's going to skyrocket you into the top 3, 4 fighters in the division, 100%, right behind Gaethje, Poirier, and Conor McGregor. So super, super excited for that fight. And then just for that pay-per-view, man, it's huge with Amanda Nunes and Megan Anderson falling off of that card. It's huge to get like a big name fight to go in behind. Who's headlining that fight now?
I thought Amanda Nunes that fight got pulled out, I thought.
Yeah, I know. Who's headlining now? It's supposed to be 2 title fights. They have to have a title fight, man. Let me look that up. But anyways,
I know McGregor. That was one of the reasons he wasn't signing the contract, because he was trying, because Amanda Nunes was out. He was saying, "Let's move it to December. Let's move it to December." But finally, I think he did sign it. So
yeah, he signed that. That's set.
yeah,
Wow, are they still looking for?
yeah, they have a headliner right now.
They don't have. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, they even still have it on UFC.com as like to be determined. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
I would love to see. There's a lot of fights that I think they could um, throw on that, but we'll talk about that in a sec. What I do think is super important. I kind of want to backtrack a little bit with Khabib being.
Real quick. Is Peter Yan and Aljamain on that?
No, but it could be.
No, I thought they were. Okay. All right. Go ahead. Just keep talking while I'm searching the shit.
Yeah, no, I
They
do.
are. Yeah, they are. I got it. They are.
That's the main event then.
Okay, cool. Because I was gonna say they have to have a title fight, so that is the title fight. Okay.
Okay.
I knew there was two on there when Amanda Nunes fell off. I knew there was two on there already, so that's the fight. Okay, so that's a championship fight, and then you'll have Ferguson versus Oliveira as the co-main event. Okay, yeah. And then I mean we can get this later weeks down
at a huge beginning of 2021, but yeah.
Yeah. Hey, go ahead. What were you saying? My bad.
I just want to backtrack a little bit to Khabib being the greatest. We were talking about possibly is he the greatest or not? Right. And so just real quick, because I know we've talked about this before on our reaction to UFC 255 or 254, but I just listened. I know I'm a few weeks late to Luke Thomas, Joe Rogan. Really good podcast so far. I haven't fully listened yet. I think both of them.
Doing, dude?
What'd you say?
I said, Jesus, what are you doing? Finish the fucking episode.
Too damn busy. I literally, the only time I have time to listen to shit or do any sort of free time is while I'm showering. So, anyways, super good. And what I found really interesting, I love their discussion on Jon Jones, Khabib, who's the greatest, and it's exactly what we had brought up before. You can definitely argue Khabib for sure most dominant, going to 29 wins. He's the most impressive first 29 fights in MMA history. I'll definitely concede that point. But again, like I mentioned before, Khabib retiring right now is the equivalent to Jon Jones retiring after he beat Rashad Evans. And it's the fucking things that Jon Jones was able to do, not training until he's 19 years old. Like, this dude did not train anything but wrestling. And he didn't even wrestle at that high of a level. He was a junior college, which it was Iowa Central College or what?
I don't know. Doesn't matter.
A big JUCO. It is a very good JUCO for wrestling. But again, it's still just a JUCO. It's not Oklahoma. It's not these big wrestling, Oregon. It's not one of these big D1 wrestling schools. And it's just kind of insane to think this dude at 19 years old, he doesn't train. That was one of the big things that Luke Thomas brought up. Most fighters will be training and then they go into a camp, which just intensifies your training. Jon Jones doesn't do anything, and then he fucking goes into fight camp. And this dude is just, the things that he's been able to do are unbelievably impressive. When you look at him, and then when you compare him to Khabib, obviously it's that contrast of personalities that they were talking about. But my whole point with this is just that Jon Jones being, his resume is just too good to discount and say Khabib is the best, because again, it's so much recency bias. If Jon Jones were to retire at Rashad Evans, I know I'm rambling, but if Jon Jones were to retire after Rashad Evans, that's where Khabib is right now. And Jon Jones at that point was not losing rounds; he was dominating. So, and getting finishes, just like we see Khabib doing. So, I don't know. It's just knocking off legends. Khabib did the same. They're kind of the same path. I just wish we wouldn't see Khabib retire so early.
Yeah, I agree, because I feel like Khabib is, he's just hitting his stride. He
right in his prime.
He's right in the middle of his prime. I think the big thing with him is by beating Ian Quinta, that's the only thing that sucks about it is because, he was fighting the number 13, 14 ranked fighter in the division. So for him to get the belt, even though you already knew like this dude is the truth, and you knew that he was going to get the title, it was just a matter of time to go over Ian Quinta. Obviously, is not Shogun fucking Hua. Shogun Hua, and this isn't Shogun Hua now that we're about to see tonight on UFC 255. This is Shogun Hua back, maybe not quote unquote his. Fuck it, it is his prime, bro. He was a champion in the UFC. Because when he was in Pride, he was young and coming up, so he was that hot young prospect. But man, it all culminates when you get to the UFC and then you end up getting the title. And this dude just came out fucking ding, 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 throws a fucking flying knee against arguably, the greatest light heavyweight of all time. At that point in time, arguably. And
at that point probably Tito Ortiz or someone was, but
I don't know, whatever. Anyways, what was I getting at? I'm just trying to pull this up real quick. Fuck.
So he goes up against who dominates. His resume was just way too. It's way more stacked.
I'm pulling it up right now. Because I want to just finish my point real quick. So he ends up beating Alain Quinta for the title, and then after that he fights Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier, and then Justin Gaethje.
Yep.
So beating Alain Quinta is like, it would have been nice if he had someone better to fight, but whatever. He gets the title. Then he starts his run, right?
Yeah.
He's actually the title holder, so he defends it against Conor McGregor, legit win.
Yeah.
Then he fights Poirier, legit win. Yeah. Fights Gaethje, legit win.
And then retires.
And he retires, and it's like, fuck, man. There's a lot of guys still out there, in your division. Your division is still the best in all of MMA.
Yeah, he never even cleared it out.
Yeah, and yes, that's my next point is he did not clear it out. You still have Ferguson, you still have Oliveira, you still have what's his face or Chandler, and you still and that's pretty much it, I guess, for right now, because he's not gonna fight Makhachev, he's not gonna fight Fajeda or anything like that, but you didn't clear it out, man. And listen, super dominant. The guy has only lost he's only lost 2 rounds. I'm pretty sure he lost
two. Yeah, arguably 2.
I think I swear he lost. I have to go to MMA decisions. But
yeah, they say he lost round 1 against
Gaethje. Even
then, even the same thing with the 3rd round against McGregor. Like both of those are very close.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I'm saying officially.
Yeah, he lost 2. Yeah, officially he may have lost 2 rounds in his career.
Okay, and but anyways, there's still guys to finish out, and like with Jon Jones, man, I don't, let me be honest, my favorite fighter, Jon Jones, stan 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very objective, 100% when it comes to anything, discussing anything, any type of sports, MMA, doesn't matter. I'm just objective with anything in my life. At least I try to be. And when it comes to Jon Jones, I just feel like, man, the resume just speaks for itself. Khabib has defended his title 3 times against legit guys. But Jon Jones has defended 12 times, whatever the fuck it is, against killers, bro. And the other thing about it is, man, he's literally fought in like 2 to 3 different generations. Like he's defended it. He's won the title and defended it against different generations, guys coming up. And he's fended off every single one. You can say what you want to say. He lost to Thiago Santos. He lost to say it again.
Dom Reyes.
Yeah, Dom Reyes. But he didn't lose. Yeah, I got you, Zayd. Hang on a second. The little one's coming.
No worries.
Okay, I got you, Zayd. Go. You didn't eat the gum, did you? You spit it out?
I didn't eat it.
Okay, good job. Okay, shut the door. But he's gone through generations, and he's dominantly defended his belt against each generation, and he's still got another chapter. That's a big thing, with the heavyweight division. He's got another chapter, and I think right now he's the greatest. I don't think it's a question. And I think anyone that just says he's not, they're just hating on him because you saw with Daniel Cormier, that shit infuriated me. This dude, listen, I like Daniel Cormier. I like everything he's done in his career. I like him on Ariel Helwani. I like when he breaks down fights. I like him on when I'm going to hear him tonight on the fucking pay-per-view. He's part of the A team. I love Daniel Cormier. But when it comes to there's a lot of shit that bothers me. When it comes to fighter pay, he bothers me. And when it comes to Jon Jones, it's like, listen, man, it's like you fail a drug test. You fail with USADA. You're knocked out. What about the guys with the tainted supplements where USADA has come back and has said this shit was tainted. It's not on the fighter. But hey, because of our legislation, because of our protocols as an organization, we have to suspend him for 6 months, even though we know that he was found not guilty.
Yeah,
performance enhancing. We have to, just part of our fucking documents, what it says is us as an organization that says that you have to be suspended for 6 months, regardless if you're found in not guilty or guilty. That's what we have to do. There's so many guys that have failed for fucking smoking weed. There's so many guys who have tainted supplements. There's so many guys you already see right now with USADA. They're getting the point with the picograms. They're starting to weed that shit out. There's no point. Like our testing is too stringent.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, man, it's like you can't just give a blanket statement and say you fail from USADA. You know, you can't be considered one of the greatest. Dude, he's salty, man. He lost twice to Jon Jones. The first time he got fucking wrestled and dominated in wrestling, couldn't even take Jon Jones down, and he's a dominant wrestler. And the second time he got head kicked, and he was told for 2 months before the head kick that's what was going to come.
I'm going to do that. You put to the right every time.
Yeah, I'm going to fucking head kick you. And he told him. And, dude, so I just wish in general MMA fans were more objective when it came to their analysis of the game and their analysis of the fighters. I understand in the society that we live in today, I do it a little bit, but I'm not like the majority of Gen Zs, which you would fall into, and some millennials, younger millennials, even though I am a millennial, they like to troll. That's the new thing now. They like to troll. It's funny. Troll. I don't even care. Even if I'm wrong, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to troll.
Hot take era. Yeah.
And so when I'm in the hot take era, exactly. And what I'm saying about that is like, listen, I get it. I mean, I'm not going to besmirch anyone that does that. I get the culture right now, but when it's all said and done, I've said this to one of my buddies who's kind of a more of a casual when it comes to MMA. And we had this discussion about Khabib versus Jon Jones, and he started getting me a little bit fucking heated with some of the comments that he was making as to why Khabib's the favorite. I just calmly said, listen, man, I respect your opinion. If you look at the resumes, I think you don't even have an argument. But at the end of the day, I'm just going to chill out for 2 years. We don't even have to have this discussion for 2 years. Let's talk in 2 years when Jon Jones is in the heavyweight division, has the fucking title, and is the heavyweight champ exactly, and he's kind of dominating or winning fights at the heavyweight division. Then you have nothing to say. Then it's over with. I don't want to hear anything about PEDs because even with the PEDs, I'll quickly say tainted fucking supplements. Like legit, USADA's come out and said they were tainted. They've said that he gained no competitive advantage. They've come out and said that he tested negative, then positive, then negative. That it's a pulsating situation. Whatever. Do I think that Jon Jones took performance enhancing? If I had gunned to my head, yeah, I would probably bet that he has taken.
I bet he did.
Everyone has, but I don't. But my whole thing is, it's not ramp. Like this guy didn't get suspended for a fucking year, 2 years because they're like, dude, he violated our performance enhancing protocols, and he was getting competitive advantage, and hey dude, you do this again, you're gonna be out for fucking 3 years or lifetime ban. They're saying like, listen, the shit was tainted. He was taking coke the first time, then the second time he took dick pills. Does dick pills help you? Maybe in some fucking form or fashion, I don't know. But USADA came back and said like it did not give him any competitive advantage. They came out and said that there was a tainted supplement the second time or whatever the first time. We can argue, we can sit here and nitpick and argue if you want. I don't care. That's fine. But I'm just telling you, And I'm smiling and laughing while I say this, dude. When it's all said and done, this dude is going down as the greatest of all time. Facts. Yeah. Yes, you shut this door, Base. Shut the door for me. If that's gum, spit it out. Love you.
That was the perfect ending to that too, with Zadie coming in. But I could not agree more. I think everything you said was perfect. I want to clear up exactly what you're talking about with the tainted supplement. He did not get suspended because of the pulsating long-term metabolite that was coming up. He got suspended because he didn't let USADA know what he had taken. I can tell you right, if they don't tell USADA that they drank a Bang, it has creatine in it. So I'm not even a huge fan of Bang, but I need an energy drink. But I shouldn't have. Now we just lost their sponsor. Now we just lost their sponsor.
And you want the sponsorship. That's why you mentioned them.
Yeah, put us on there. I love Bang. But anyways, that has creatine in it. If you didn't tell, even though creatine is not a banned substance through USADA, if he didn't tell them and they found out he drank a fucking Bang, that's how insane they are. He would get in trouble for that. I don't know how long a suspension would be, if at all. It would probably just be a fine. But the point is, like, that's why he was suspended. They had to come down on him. They're making an example. It's insane to think. And you know what drives me the most insane about this is that most people would agree, even if you think, no, fuck it, I don't care what anyone says, he took PEDs. Almost everyone would say he didn't need to take them. Mm-hmm. And he still would have had the same career if he didn't take them. So what the fuck are you saying? Yeah. Like, if the result is the same, either way, whether he took PEDs or not, why do we even take that away from him? Why is there an asterisk? It's insane to me. It drives me insane, because then what is the point of the rule? Do we make the rules because it just sounds good and we blindly follow them, or do we make the rules because there's a specific reason behind it? If we think that no way it gave him any performance enhancement, but hey, on the book though, it says if anything shows up, that's wrong. That's against the rules. Well, if it didn't give you a performance enhancement, why are we forgetting the point of the rules to begin with? People are not allowed to take steroids because it enhances their performance in an unfair way. That's what drives me crazy about it. If USADA, the people who suspended him, come out and say there is no performance enhancement benefit that he received in his entire career that we know of through PEDs, boom. Mm-hmm. To me, that says, okay, not guilty. He's good. But for some reason, everyone likes to throw that asterisk. And I understand outside of the cage, he's not a great guy. In most sports, he wouldn't even still be playing. If he's in the NFL, he was kicked out a while ago.
No, he wouldn't be kicked out, but he would have been suspended.
No way. No way.
Listen. This is my arena when we're talking about.
You don't think in the NBA and the NFL and the MLB he would be kicked out?
Is a caveat, and I know for the one or two listeners, and if they're still listening, they probably fucking heard other podcasts. I am literally and it's on my Twitter. I am a diehard sports fan first, and what I mean by sports, and I know I could be more particular, is NFL, NBA, blah blah blah. And then I'm MMA diehard, but what I'm saying is, like, MMA for me, it's NFL, MMA. Listen, I know my fucking sports, bro, and I'm telling you 100%. Like, all I have to say is Antonio Brown, who's currently playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Believe me when I say this, Jon Jones would not be kicked out of the league. All I would just say is, he might have been suspended for 6 months, maybe suspended for a year, but he's not, dude. Believe me, he's not kicked out.
He wouldn't be playing.
No, he's not, dude.
This is my point. I don't think the NFL would ban him. I don't think it's like, oh, you're never allowed to play here.
He would have been suspended. Yeah,
wouldn't be picked up by a team. That's my point. He would get suspended.
Yes, he would. What are you talking about, bro? You're talking about the GOAT. You're talking about the GOAT wouldn't be picked up. Look at Antonio Brown.
Look at Antonio Brown right now.
Exactly. Antonio Brown is fucking amazing. He's on the Bucs. He came back to the Bucs. He was suspended.
He came back, and now he has another allegation.
Nothing's gonna happen, dude. I'm telling you right now, talent ultimately outweighs all that shit, man. I'm telling you, 100%.
But it's not. Again, Jon Jones hits if you go through his timeline and how many years at this point he would have had off, how many seasons he would have had off. I just don't see I don't know. I don't see.
Yeah, we're getting into the weeds on this shit. We can.
My point is that when the UFC, if it's just the NFL and teams are it's a corporate structure. NFL runs each team and they play them against each other. Yes, he'd still be in the NFL. How they have it with franchises, I think some teams would take a chance. He would end up on a shitty team, and it would just be a way different direction.
Whatever.
But yeah. Anyways, going into. Because what I really wanted to transition, I didn't even want to get this far into the GOAT talk, but like you said, chapter 4 or chapter 5, whatever chapter we're on with Jon Jones moving up to heavyweight looks fucking amazing.
Chapter 2, it's really chapter 2 to be honest with you. Lightweight's chapter 1, and chapter 2.
I call it with era 1, his rise, era 2, knocking out Gustafsson.
Chapter
4. Yeah, exactly. Chapter 4. So chapter 4. Finally moving up to light heavyweight after his moving up to heavyweight after his third clearing of light heavyweight. He looks amazing at 240. Looks giant.
Yeah.
He's going to be a fucking unit. He's going to be a problem at why are you smiling?
Because of what I'm about to say.
He looks like he looks like he's going to be a big problem at heavyweight, but we'll see.
I was just saying he's jacked, and I was. This is fucking hilarious. I was just telling my wife this a day or two ago. I was like, man, I just saw fucking Jon Jones. There's something else going on personal. I'll tell you off air. Nothing with me.
Oh.
But some personal. That's whatever going on, health wise, all that type of shit. With a couple people in my life. But I was just saying that in combination with seeing Jon Jones, and I already get in the gym and I already work out, but I do fucking slack, especially with this COVID shit with fucking Pritzker shutting down everything with the gyms and all that shit. So it's been hard to stay consistent as much as I would like to. But in general, I was just saying, seeing that fucking Jon Jones picture of him fucking jacked, I'm like, bro, that shit was crazy motivation for me. Like, man, get back to where you were at, get back to, on your beast mode and shit where I was fucking jacked. And I'm still pretty fucking cut and in good shape. But when I saw that picture, I was like, man, dude, like that shit was just fucking motivation. Cause like you say, he looks fucking jacked. And that's what I'm saying, man. Like this dude is all in on this move to heavyweight. People think it's a joke. I hear these fucking comments from, I think Ariel Helwani. I don't know if there's another guy. I don't think Luke Thomas and them said it. I think it was mainly Ariel Helwani saying like, oh, this guy, Israel moves up, fights Jan, and then boom, it's perfect situation for Jon Jones to come down and fight him. Jon Jones is done with light heavyweight, dude, 100%. And even I think we might have had the conversation. Maybe you had said it in a previous podcast, but yeah, he's done, dude. He's not coming back down to light heavyweight. He's 100% focused. And this is why he's fucking undefeated, why he's a long reigning champ at light heavyweight, and why he is the GOAT ultimately is because cerebrally, it's not just physically. No one can dismiss this dude and just